Hello, happy day. In this episode, we are discussing the RHONY reboot. I'm not going to call it, I feel like I don't want to call it RHONY because it will never replace our OGs. But let's get started with the Clueless party, the Clueless episode. I have to admit, parts of this episode had me feeling clueless with some of the drama happening with the women.
Yeah, I'm confused on why certain people are mad at certain people. Like, it just feels very much like, I don't know. I'm confused on why we're upset with one another. I love the theme, but I will say I do think it's kind of like low-hanging fruit for like the demographic, knowing that most of the people watching this are probably 35 to 55. They all have seen Clueless, like they saw Clueless when it first came out. Like, I loved it and it was so fun and it was nostalgic. And I love that they opened with like they did a cute little like opening that was Clueless themed, and Jessel did the whole like my friends are total Betty. Well, she said
Yeah.
Monet's, but I was like, okay, this is cute, but like this is very much low hanging fruit. I felt like it was just like an obvious.
Oh, I'm still here for it. I like low hanging fruit or not, that is one of my all time favorite movies. Like, any excuse to dress like that, I would have loved to see more like the feather pens or like
And it
little
needed,
things like that, like
yeah,
her walking out with her own flowers that she sent herself. Like, I do feel like Jessel in the party, for someone who wore three outfits, I felt like she needed, aside from the last one, which I don't know if it was Alaya, but it was like supposed to be that it's an Alaya. I think she could have done more as Cher. If you're gonna go for this theme, I'm expecting like cosplay Jessel as Cher, basically in
I
this party.
I wanted exactly. I wanted more. I even felt like I feel like the women did a really good job of dressing up, some better than others, but for the most part, I mean, minus Rebecca Minkoff, they all like felt like they all put effort into trying to dress within this theme. I felt like some of the party itself, though, I feel like I would have wanted more of like a themed cocktail. I would have
I
wanted
see where
like
you're
I
going.
wanted more. Like if you're gonna
Let's
go
do it.
for yeah, like if you're gonna do this theme, which it's like so beloved, such like a like classic 90s film. I don't know. I wanted a little more. And I agree,
You
like the
wanted
outfits,
Alicia Silverstone to pop out of the cake.
not that much, but I just felt like
Could have, maybe.
I just felt like she could have done a little bit more. And I get trying to put like her take on some of the outfits, like the fuzzy pink sweater cropped. Okay, I'm fine with it. But then like the skirt was completely not like it
Yeah.
just I don't know. I just wanted a little bit more, but let's it is, I mean, I do think this is a really fun theme. Every Halloween there is a celebrity often that does a really, really good Clueless costume. And it's like always just warms my heart because it is such a great,
Oh,
great
it's such
movie.
an iconic film. It's gonna, like, kill me when they redo the reboot, like, the remake. Like, we've reached the age where our beloved movies are gonna be remade, and it's gonna pain me when the day comes for Clueless.
I'm kind of surprised they haven't yet. I almost wonder if they're like, it would just, there's no way. I feel like it would always just fall short.
Why? Well,
Yeah.
most
Like,
of them do. I mean, most
yeah.
remakes do, let's be real, they do.
You
I
know,
mean,
though, I will say I have high hopes for I mean, they just started, like, they just filmed it. The new Freaky Friday with Jamie
okay.
Lee Curtis, because one thing I'll say about Jamie Lee Curtis, like, I mean, she's kept the Halloween series afloat for such a long time. Like, I think she knows what she's doing when it comes to the remakes. And I think Lindsay Lohan as well. It's like, this is going to be my big first major movie back. I know she's done some Lifetimes.
Netflix,
And
she's
then, well, Netflix is the new Lifetime when it comes to Christmas. Have you seen their lineup?
I know, they have quite the lineup. Watch out, Hallmark. Yeah, they've got the dirt. If you want the dirty and the curse words, go on to Netflix, which is more my speed and my cup of tea. But she's a darling in that sense. She's like
Yeah.
their star for holiday. So all for reclaiming that. I do think, to your point, like I'm okay with reboots when the main characters are just coming back, same storyline but different. I hate when the reboot is like completely different, the same concept,
Like
like the same
modernize
story.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, when they're gonna modernize Clueless, that's gonna, like, ruin, like, break my heart because there's gonna be cell phones involved. It's just gonna be very different.
It won't be
But
this. Also, I want to say too, like the fact that we still don't have the Cher Horowitz closet technology in 2024, and this movie came out
like
30 years.
1994.
Yeah. Like that to me, I'm like, we can't have a reboot until that technology is readily available. And I would like believe that a rich person would have it in their house.
Oh,
So maybe
1,000%.
that's what they're waiting on. But yes, okay. You think Gideon and Brynn are endgame.
I kind of do. I mean, listen, we've only seen Brynn. She's very flirtatious with anyone. I mean, if you walk,
Yeah.
you're bound to have a flirty interaction with Brynn. But with her and Gideon, I mean, he's sticking around, I feel like, for a reason. Like, he has proposed to her. He's continuing this friendship. I feel like he's in it for the long game, not the short game. And it's just like waiting for her, for that to like click for her. What are your thoughts?
I think Brynn is the type of person that when she knows, she will know. And I think it hasn't happened yet. She strikes me as the type that will be dating someone, be engaged and married in a year. Like, I think I could see her just having a very fast and furious, I know this is it. I'm dropping my guard. I feel safe. This is my person. Let's go.
I can see that as well,
Yeah.
actually.
And so I feel like the fact that like her and Gideon like haven't like, they're not like married, they're not really like dating. I think for her it is a fun, flirty friend to keep around. He probably I think has a little bit more feelings for her, but I think she's just naturally a very flirty person and so she just kind of enjoys
Yeah,
having
it's
someone to flirt with.
going to be interesting. I'd be interested to see what happens when Gideon has a relationship and she's
It's
no
yeah.
longer like a priority. As someone who reads a lot of romance novels, this is a plot line that I've read many a times, and so it could give that energy. But I'm rooting for Gideon, so I'm putting that out there. Okay, I'm gonna go on a soapbox, a tangent. We have Jenna Lyons. She's working for Couverture. It's an account I actually do follow online. It's a fashion line. I think it is such a travesty that she is not going to be on Project Runway to any capacity. If you guys have been sleeping under a rock, our beloved Project Runway has not been renewed. It's not going even to Peacock. It's going to Freeform. We've been down this road with Project Runway before. It went to Lifetime, eventually came back. I personally really enjoyed the last season, the last few seasons, and it pains me that there was an opportunity to have Jenna Lyons cross over to that show, and it's not happening. I just had to say it.
I feel like it belongs on Bravo/Peacock because I think they're an extension of one another. I will say like the years that it was on, like, was it 2 seasons on Lifetime or 3?
I don't remember because I never watched those seasons.
They weren't as good. I like tried to get into it the first time because I'm like, okay, it could still be the same thing. It wasn't the same. I agree with you. I think this is such a natural, like perfect fit. Have Jenna Lyons be the host of it, be part of it. It would be her like such a different spin on it with her style, the way she approaches it versus Heidi, who is more,
Yeah.
I would say like more runway, high end. Like I feel like just kind of like Jenna's more approachable, casual, but like very chic put together. I mean, like the epitome of J. Crew. That's why she made her style like J. Crew staple. I think it just makes sense. And I think for her, I don't know if she's 100% in on Housewives. She's giving us more this season than she did last season, but I don't think she wants to share all of her life, and
Sure.
that's okay. But if you were on Project Runway, your relationship can be carved out. It doesn't have to have anything to do
I
with it.
know. It makes me so mad. I feel like that will be a question if we get to ask Andy questions at the Bravo Miami Fan Fest, such a mouthful. I will be like, why is Project Runway not on Peacock? And why did you let Jenna Lyons not do it? Because to me, that seems like a no brainer. But I digress. Let's talk about Uba's artwork, which was honestly better and more impressive than I was expecting. I thought it was just really beautiful, a little Uba moment. I totally understand why Oliver bought her, like, was like, you can have your own painting studio, but I was really into it.
I love it. I think I was surprised that I mean, it was all very similar. She loves kind of like that gold swirl, but that's like her thing. And it's also one of those things like she's doing this for herself. She even said, I don't know if I'll ever take this out like for commercial, like selling it use. But I thought I really liked seeing it. I appreciate her sharing us with it. I think it was really neat that she felt comfortable enough, like, or was trying to get to know Jacqueline better, was like, let's bond over art. It's something that like I use as a form of expression. And Jacqueline really won me over
Yeah,
because
Raquel.
Raquel, I don't know why I said Jacqueline.
I
I'm
know.
thinking
Okay.
Potomac newbies.
Yes.
Raquel, I really appreciate that she didn't come in with an air or like a judgmental, like kind of attitude about it. She could have very easily been nice to Uba's face and then in an interview been like, I have seen the highest quality of art. The
Yeah.
fact that she wanted me but she said, I don't judge any art because it's I don't judge negatively anyone's
Yeah.
art because it's an expression of who they are and it's like their expressions and their feelings. And that always is like a beautiful thing. I was like, what a nice way of like looking at it. And she thought it, I mean, she thought it was good. She thought it was very Uba. And I appreciate it. Like, I mean, when Uba was talking about the American flag and just, I think for some of us who right now, there is rightfully so, we're not going to get super political or anything, but there's just concern in the country. We feel very divided. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of topics being discussed that could have scary implications one way or another for different groups of people. And it was sort of a nice reminder for Uba to say, like, when Americans are complaining, I want to let them know, like, do you still understand though how many freedoms you
Yeah.
still have that people in the other parts of the world don't? And it was a nice reminder because I think sometimes we take advantage of the fact, particularly for us as women, we can do this podcast and speak freely. I can walk down the street by myself and purchase something that I want to. And I think the idea of not being able to do that sounds
Yeah.
so crazy, but there are parts of the world where people can't. And so it's just, we still have a lot of room to move forward and improve, but it was a nice
Yes,
reminder.
absolutely. It's a nice
Yeah.
reminder, and just I think for me in that aspect, it's like I want more of Uba's story. I
Hmm.
I like I want a little bit more hear more of her upbringing and kind of how she came to be Uba, the Uba we
Yeah.
know. But Sai's moment, I feel like I have to let you speak to it. I could
Oh,
imagine it brought a lot of emotion for you. I just thought it was a really beautiful moment.
it was real. I'm going to probably get emotional, but it was really sweet. I think there is such a finality to placing ashes somewhere, even though she didn't even do all of them. My dad is still in a box in my older sister's house. I talk to so many people, and it's so weird. If you haven't had someone close to you pass away, you're like, why would you want them sitting in a box? They're an ash, like, like they want to be free. You need to let them loose. But there's a process to that. And I really liked her sharing that with all of us. Sai isn't one who I think opens up on that. Like she's like an onion, and I appreciated her sharing that with us. I thought her aunt was just such like a wonderful female presence in Sai's life right now without having a mom, not replacing her mom, but also then at moments like kind of made Sai come out of her shell a little bit and was like, come on, Sai, say something. And she's like, she knew I loved her. She knew. I don't know. It was a really sweet moment. And I also appreciated that as Sai was talking about it, you know, other, housewives are like, well, I still have somebody in a box too. I think it's like, you don't want to say it out loud, but there's a lot of us with a deceased parent who haven't figured out, like particularly ashes, if you're going to bury them, that's
I also
done.
enjoyed the levity her aunt provided with being like, "My hands," like,
Yeah.
everyone, like, just jokingly, but I think all of us as viewers and fans of reality TV, there's nothing we enjoy more, even though it brought her a little pain, is just seeing someone being willing and open to be vulnerable with us and sharing that moment with us, so that's not lost on us. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Um, I feel like Bryn and Sai, I rereading my note and I'm like, okay, wow, that's a little sassy. I feel like they need to have like just I don't know if it's like slapping each other. I said
I
bitch
think
slap.
you are a little influenced by
I
Tell Me
was a little, I
Lies.
had a
And you're
little
like,
wine. I had a little
yeah.
wine.
I saw that
Last
note
night
and
I
I
had
was
a
like,
few.
I don't know
Yeah.
if we want to encourage them to be slapping one another in the face.
Well,
But
not. I just sometimes think with two like such strong-willed women, it's almost like you just need to like air it all out. Like have a mediator and be like, you yell at this person, say everything that's on your mind, you say something, and then have someone in the middle. I just think they're both so stubborn in how they operate with each other.
I'm confused too. Like Uba was mad at Bren because of how she was treating Sai. And I was confused about that. Now I'm confused why like Bren is now mad at Sai again when it seemed like Bren was actually mad at Uba. I'm like, who are we mad at? Like, let's figure it out. Or if you're switching, you gotta tell us why. You gotta tell us what's going on. I kind of felt the same way with Erin for part of it too. I'm like, why are
Yeah,
you telling everyone else? And like in the way she was explaining it to other people wasn't necessarily making sense. And then when she finally talked to Jenna about it, I was like, oh wait, I kind of see where you're coming from a little bit more. But before we get into that though, I do think we need to talk about the outfits. Think, I mean, Sai, amazing. Bren, amazing. Those two are like obviously like the clear winners. I do want to give points though to Jenna Lyons for creativity She really went with it, like dressing as the dad, which I thought was hilarious, which but like none of the women were going to do that. So I think she knew like this was a unique take on it. She became very obsessed with that phone.
She killed it. No, like literally killed the phone. Like for
Yeah.
me, it went too far. It was like really
We're
funny,
done.
comic-y. Okay, we get it. You got the phone. You're making a
Yeah.
phone call. Hardy, hard. I felt like every little moment, the
She's like,
mom
tell him the deal's done. It's like, okay, like we get it.
It's overkill. I like so badly wanted to take the phone because I felt like the personality was all in the phone. I was like, what are you
Yeah.
without the phone?
She had
I mean,
full on become Mel Horowitz. I did like her giving people the different like subpoenas and like acting like, serving them. It was funny for like the different what was it? Defaming Christmas
yeah.
and like all it was very funny. It was cute, but like, all right, like enough was enough. We could have let it go. I had like we could have not kept it going the entire party.
What did you think about Abe, like, realizing he outed his wife's anger and then, like, awkwardly stood there and was like, "I gotta go to the restroom," and just was like, "Shit, what did I thought it was kind of relatable, the way
It
he
was very like male, to be like, oh, I wasn't supposed to share that. Clearly, Erin had probably like vented to Abe, and he's like, you know what the issue is with you two? And Jenna's like, I didn't know we had an issue.
yeah.
Like it was kind of like, oh, and it did prompt Jenna to then go talk to Erin. I would have like, I was curious. I mean, we'll never know, but had Abe not said anything, I think Erin would have just continued talking about it to everyone but Jenna. And that was bothering me. I'm like, girl, you are telling every single person at this party except for Jenna. Like, if that's who you have the issue with, go talk to Jenna.
I think this is kind of my beef with this cast a little bit with some of the fighting amongst the women. It's like they fight, they act like they're over it and cool, a la Sai and Bryn. And then you have Erin who's mad. Like I'm watching this and I'm like, wait, why is she mad? Like it's hard to keep up because it feels to me like so many of the women in this cast hold grudges or hold on to things and like they're never truly over it. And then someone else, like their sidekick, will pop in
The
and like
sidekick comes
add
back.
to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a lot of chirping, and it's just like whoa. Like this just feels. I don't know. It's a confusing drama, to be honest with you. It's
I
like
also
hard to
think
keep up with why.
and we're already having like a lot of the same. Like, Bryn, let it go. Okay, maybe Rebecca does drink around other people, doesn't want to drink with you guys. She probably doesn't want to drink on camera. She maybe is one of those people that, for the most part, does not drink and occasionally will have a sip of wine or let herself have one drink. But for the most part, she does not drink. That's her right. That's her choice. I just like we've talked about this. I just am so over the people like almost like shaming those for not drinking. Like it's such just because like I because they're making a lifestyle choice. I feel like, if she was an alcoholic, nobody'd be like, come on, have a drink. But because she's just like freely choosing to not want to drink, it like bothers Bryn, which is kind of weird.
I'm with you on that. I think if I were Rebecca, like to make herself a bit more interesting on the show and like why is she casted at this point, it would have been like I would have been like, yo, like, why do you every time I see you, why do you mention this? Like, am I not a good time with that alcohol? Like, I think I would have like spun it back at Bryn a little bit. But
Yeah.
why was Rebecca Minkoff casted on this show? Because like her outfit, she's giving nothing.
She's very boring so far. I'm not impressed. I hope we see a little bit more. I mean, there had to be a reason why they casted her. But yeah, I agree with Bryn. So far, she is very boring. Maybe Bryn's trying to help her. Like, hey, if I can push alcohol on you, maybe you'll be a little bit more.
She tried
But
to help her. We totally missed that hot mic moment that happened like during that was it last week's episode
yes,
where
when she
Bryn
said,
was
like, you should have said back to me, you
yes.
just put stuff on a sweatshirt, or like, it was like, she's almost like, I want you to shame me. I
She was
want
like
you.
coaching her on like what to
Yeah.
say, which I
I
mean,
do think some of this, though, only highlights Bryn's own insecurities. Bryn feels like she always has to be the flirty, fun, like, la, 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 girl,
yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I think it's highlighting some of Bryn's own insecurities. She in this we talked about this before, and it shows how she doesn't handle people expressing emotion well, like good or bad. It's just like I think she always just like keep it light, keep it fun, and And at some point, Brynn is going to have to share a little bit more. And I know at times she has, like she,
Yeah.
did share a little bit more about herself last season, but for the most part, her shield and her defense mechanism is default to flirty fun.
Yeah.
And even when it's not always like the appropriate time to do it.
Yes. I feel like Jessel of the cast. Well, actually, I would give my kudos the most probably to Jessel and Sai. I think Jessel season 1 appeared to be like a little entitled, and then we all kind of got her humor, and I feel like she's leaning into her humor a bit and not taking things too seriously, just kind of laughing, even with the outfit, the Christmas tree, which I really appreciate. I think Sai is, I think clearly took a look at the feedback that she received, regardless if that was, I don't know if the therapy was the audience response or actual therapy.
Living in the comment section.
But
yeah.
She seems like more comfortable, more authentic. Brynn, I feel like we all fell in love with her because she seemed fun, flirty. I'll date your dad. Like, but that shtick is like old now. Like, we do want a bit more. And I don't know. It's interesting. A lot of people in the fandom aren't into this RHONY. They really don't like it. We may need to do a poll to kind of gather your all's thoughts. Those of you who are watching, I don't feel as negatively, to be honest. You and I've watched a lot of Housewives, even season.
It's not the worst. Yeah.
OC 2020 will never be topped, in my opinion, as one of the worst things we've watched. But
I would say that who was the Bachelor that season that we agreed to watch it? That was Matt James. That was the worst thing I've ever watched on TV. From a reality. But yeah, I don't think it's terrible. Is it RHONY? No. And I think we also, and we've talked about this, last season was season 1. This is season 2. We've got to stop acting as if we just continued RHONY. It's an insult to the women that came before them. It can still be RHONY, but it's RHONY season 1. Now we're on season 2. Like, I don't know. I just feel like we've got to draw a line in the sand.
I do think they benefit from having a little crossover, like with Luann.
The Countess, yes.
Countess, we're all going to go see the Countess perform and like talk to her and meet up. Like, we've seen like Brynn and the Countess, like there's been some interaction. And to me, if they're going to continue with this reboot, they need to like integrate.
Yeah, we need to feel like
integrate some of them, you know, like I think that's like a low hanging fruit, using our corporate terms here, but that to me feels like low hanging fruit. So
I would agree. I also about died when someone went up to Pavitt and said, "How do you know Jessel?"
That was really funny.
I was like, and he's like, "That's my wife." Like, "Oh, you're married to her?" Pavitt is not winning any awards for his, maybe he'll turn it around, but he's not winning any awards for his husband skills when it comes to his wife's birthday. I get, you don't have to go over the top. That's fine. I think, like for my, like, if it's not a milestone year, she's 41, that's fine. You got to do something.
I mean,
and asking her what she wants. Come on, this is Jessel. You know what she wants. Just go buy her something designer. It doesn't even matter what it is.
Have whatever. She clearly probably will tell you what she wants. She doesn't want to have to tell you what she wants on her actual day of the birthday. Like,
yes.
I do think as women, we sometimes, like, I've realized that men are not mind readers. My husband's never going to like miraculously know. I think the minute you realize that and are okay with it, and you will share, like, if you do want something, I want this, or what your expectations are, whether it be Mother's Day, you and I talked about this, whether it be your birthday, anniversary. I think sometimes most men, you're going to have to just tell them what exactly that you want. I don't know that a lot of them are going to like miraculously. I know they exist, but most of us don't have one of those types of husbands who are going to like a car ready and like pick us up and like little things. I think for me, I'll get like a surprise dinner, which is great, a date, and that's perfect. But I think if you know what you want, just say it.
But also for the men out there, don't ask the day before at her party, what do you want for your birthday?
Oh my Lord. I will tell you, someone asking if she was married. So my brother recently got engaged and I was talking to his friends and just chatting it up. And they're like, oh, I was like, how do you know Billy? Making those conversations. They're like, how do you know him? I was like, oh, I'm his sister. As if that wasn't obvious in a way. I'm like, we gotta look alike. But so that made me laugh.
All right, let's get to Erin and Jenna. So Erin's running her mouth saying things changed because of the fact that she saw Jenna and Sai were together, which I was kind of confused by that. Like, why do you I don't understand why all the women are so affected by the other women's relationships with, like, it's like it's not directly impacting you.
This is where this show and this season's going to lose. I mean, they've lost a lot of people in general, but they're going to continue to lose by like, what is this? Like, I feel like I do not understand it. I don't get it, to be quite honest. Like, you're mad because of the talking shit, but like, you've already unpacked that. It doesn't seem like something worth holding on to. To me, some of this season, and we got it with episode 1 with the off-camera drama, like, I feel like we're missing some context as viewers with some of these nitpicky little fights, and that these girls are holding grudges against each other. But a lot of this was filmed off camera, the text messages. I don't know. It's not all making sense to me.
Yeah, I think it feels, yeah, it feels disjointed, and it feels like as a viewer, like, yeah, we're like left out of something. And when it comes to reality TV, like, this isn't scripted. Like, we're not supposed to be intentionally not knowing why they're mad, and we'll find out at some point, or maybe we won't, and you have to keep watching. Like, this is reality TV. We should have a little bit more of an understanding of like, why are these women upset with one another? And I mean, I don't even as I felt like, I've said this, but even as Erin was talking to all the other people about it, I still was so confused. Like, she's like, I'm just not close with her anymore. I don't know if I want to be a friend anymore. Now, I will say I didn't fully understand still, even as she was talking to Jenna, but she made her point very clear to Jenna that like she is not interested in pursuing a close friendship.
Yeah. Yeah, which is okay. I mean, I think as adults, and they probably don't hang out outside the show. I think it's okay to say that and just keep it light and move on. I thought this was interesting. So recently there was Hey You Fan Fest. In case you guys aren't familiar what that is, for our listeners, our few listeners that we have in the UK, hello, or abroad, Europe, hello. I don't know. I was going to do something offensive and annoying like a chip chip cheerio a la Shannon Storms Bador, but I kind of stopped myself there. But I digress. So that's how they're able to stream Bravo abroad. The announcement of Real Housewives of London came out, which I would love like your 2 cents on. But one thing, Jessel was there, and on one of the panels, she teased the RHONY cast trip was cut short due to all the drama. Somebody had to be put in a hotel, and someone was put on a plane back home. And I believe it was Uba and Bryn, which honestly, a part of me is like, how did it get that far? To me, that's giving like altercation potential.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna put
Um,
someone on a flight home, it meant like you had to remove them from the group. It's also like giving me like maybe we all still are like, I don't know, I don't want to say PTSD, but we're all still very angry about the ultimate girls trip that we're never gonna see because of that like fight that we still truly don't know everything that went on.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm hoping it plays out. We actually get to see what happens. I'm guessing we most likely will, but yeah, that doesn't sound good for the future of this show.
No, it doesn't. And truthfully, I'm like, how do they let it get that bad? Like, because to me, so much of Uba, like, I just don't get. Again, these are women who say they're cool, and then the grudges, and then it implodes. Hello, if you go to therapy, work on yourself. If you got beef, don't let yourself be a ticking time bomb. But that was interesting to me. I didn't feel like it was like a fun tidbit as someone who's been watching and kind of over those two being pigeons to each
Yeah.
other. I wasn't like thrilled by that, but I don't know.
I will say
Time
the Hey You Fan Fest looked really fun. I like that they're testing out like a bunch of different markets to basically do a mini BravoCon. We've got Miami in November. We've got London. I'm sure that there's going to be other cities added before the big BravoCon next November. But I do think, I think it's fun. I mean, like invite us to London, Bravo. But
Yes, invite
I,
us. Okay, Real Housewives of London, your 2 cents.
I mean, if we don't have anybody from Ladies of London, I will be very disappointed. I know Caroline now is on Real Housewives of Dubai, and so like she's not gonna like she lives in Dubai, so she's not gonna jump over like to be part of Real Housewives of London. But I think maybe Juliet could be part of it. I don't know. I would like to see at least some sort of like extension, like somehow like one or two of them are involved, just because Ladies of London was such a beloved show, I feel like, and maybe didn't have the highest of viewership, but those of us that watched it Loved it. Lucy on the ground, I think, is like the president of the Ladies of London fan club. I would say I'm like VP or secretary of that fan club. I loved it when it was on. So I'm excited for it. I think it'd be really cool just because of how entertaining and how fun Ladies of London was. I'm assuming we're going to have a mix of people born there versus people who have moved there. I'm guessing there's going to be at least one American, and it's going to be the whole dynamic of like
The
how,
expat versus
and how they assimilate and don't assimilate in certain ways. And
how loud.
so loud. Yes.
So loud, how loud Americans are. It's essentially going to be like Ladies of London. Ladies of London was essentially like Real Housewives of London in a way. Like, like
a lot of us were like, why didn't they just call it that? But I think it just wasn't.
At the time, it wasn't
yeah.
like a concept or how they pitched it. But to me, in a way, I'm like, that's is hopefully that. I'm curious. We don't know if we're going to be able to stream it. So we'll keep you all posted. This seemed to be like a Hey You exclusive. Your update. Do you have an update?
No, I don't have an update, but that is what angers me. So with Hey You,
she's getting on her soapbox. Yeah. Get ready, y'all.
I know it bothers me. And I get maybe I'm sounding like an entitled American. And if somebody wants to, check me in the DMs, I'm open to this conversation. But Hey You allows people outside of the US to stream all the US housewives, as well as all of the international housewives. Those of us in the States, we cannot find anywhere Real Housewives of Melbourne, like there's so many other like
Melbourne. So good.
We got to watch Melbourne for one season and then they took it away from us. And like, it still is going on. Like, I'm just like, it bothers me to know, like, there's all these awesome international franchises out there and we have no way to watch it, no way to access this. If this does become a Hey You only and we can't get it in the States, I'm going to be pissed. I also think too, it's like, it could be such a fun thing if you're going to test out all these different markets for FanFest. Like I'm assuming one day Bravo would love to do a BravoCon in Paris, a BravoCon in Australia. Like, wouldn't you love to have US fans like make a big trip of it and go? Like, to me, this is such a money opportunity.
Okay,
so
well, we got our questions ready for Andy.
Yes.
Normally at these FanFest, BravoCon, there's always an Ask Andy panel. And I think we both have very good questions. For me, Jenna Lyons and Project Runway. For you, this question about the international franchises, if anything.
Yeah, I'll say you've made some mistakes with not letting the US watch any other international franchises. How are you ensuring this mistake will not be made again with Real Housewives of London? And I will phrase it that way. I'll be shady to Andy.
No, I think we've come to a point with Andy where we're like, we got to just.
The niceties are done. We were nice and polite and we are thankful. But now it's time. It's been 5.5 years, Andy. We're going to get down. This is what happens when people stop being polite and start getting real.
Wow.
The real world. Bravo fandom.
Well, I feel like we got to end the show on that note. And if you enjoy our rants, please show us. I have a Delulu goal of reaching 1,500 reviews by the end of the year, which is basically 2 months away. We got about 8 weeks to do it. So do your part, scroll down, leave a 5-star rating or written review. And with that, make it a great day or don't. The choice is yours.